Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our Masters in Organizational Leadership Program informational session. We're happy to have you here with us this afternoon. Just a brief overview of what we'll be talking about this afternoon. So we're just going to do some brief introductions to our staff here. We're going to talk a little bit about the program format, as well as some highlights of our curriculum. We're going to talk about what it's like to be an online student here at Brown. Go through your application checklist, and then at the end we will feature a live Q&A. So please feel free as the presentation is going on, put your questions in the Q&A feature. We'll answer some live, and if there's some we can answer as we're going along, we certainly will in the chat as well. So my name is Michael McGurr. I'll be your host this afternoon. I'm in the admissions coordinator for our online programs and our with our business programs. Devin, do you want to introduce yourself?
Absolutely. Thanks, Mike. My name is Devin Costa. I am the program specialist for online graduate programs here at the School of Professional Studies. And in this role, I provide administrative and operational support to make sure our programs run smoothly. And I'm also a resource for our students.
Great. Thank you, Devin. And of course, we have our academic director, Ed Barrows. Ed, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, thanks, Mike. Hey, I'm Ed Barrows, Academic Director. Thanks for being here for our Masters of Organizational Leadership. So you can read all about me there. I'll spend as little time as possible talking about that, but I've worked in leader development for a long time. I've been at Brown for 3 years, worked at Duke Corporate Education, building large programs for global organizations to develop their top talent. I have taught at Harvard, Boston College previously, and am delighted to be here as part of this program. I just put in a post on LinkedIn, and thanks to Mike and Devin's help, that we far exceeded our inaugural class expectations. I think we had modest expectations of 25 people. We have right now it looks like just under 50 coming for our spring semester. So we're super excited for that as we get ready to roll out what we think is a pretty special program. So thanks for being here. I look forward to telling you a little bit more about what we do with the program and helping you think about whether or not it's a good fit for you. So I'll send it back over to Mike.
Great. Thanks a lot, Ed. Yeah, we're very excited. Our spring cohort will be starting soon. And of course, our fall application is currently open, which we'll talk a little bit about more later. Do want to talk a little bit about the program format, though. So for this program, it is 100% online, and it is completed asynchronously. So meaning you really get to kind of work at your own pace in this program, which is a really fantastic feature of our online Masters in Organizational Leadership. The tuition for this program, it is $5,625 per course, and there are 2 courses per semester. We also have a total of 8 courses. So if you do the quick math there, that's 4 consecutive semesters for 16 total months. We do offer merit-based scholarships of up to 50% that are available to our students. And again, that is merit-based. We do not offer need-based aid in this program. But again, we do assess for merit-based based on your application experience and things like that. Other great features of this program is its weekly optional synchronous sessions. So while it is an asynchronous program and you get to work at your own pace, which is really wonderful for a lot of our working professionals, the program also offers opportunities to meet with your other peers and your faculty once a week, talk about what you're learning, what are you working on, what did you learn this week in your lessons. So a really great opportunity to kind of put some face time with a lot of your peers and your cohort and your faculty as well. And then we also have an optional 2.5-day in-person session that we host here at Brown as well. Next, we're going to talk a little bit about our curriculum highlights. I'm going to throw that over to Ed. Ed, if you want to talk a little bit about why organizational leadership.
Yeah, thanks, Mike. I appreciate it. So we here at Brown in the School of Professional Studies have been focused on delivering leadership degrees, excuse me, for the better part of the last decade, actually. So just to give you a range of the leadership focus that we have a master's degree in healthcare leadership, which is a hybrid program, a master's degree in technology leadership. We also have a joint MBA program with a IE Business School out of Madrid, and that's a hybrid program as well. We have a coaching certification that we have in partnership with ACT Leadership. So if anyone's interested in becoming a certified coach, whether it's for an individual or a team coaching, we do that as well. So we have a deep experience based in this area. But when we looked at adding to our curriculum here in the school, we went out and benchmarked a lot of different leadership degrees. And there's some very, very strong degrees out there. And we try to get an understanding for where Brown could fit in. I think initially, even my own questioning when I came here was, well, why would someone go to Brown for a leadership degree? But I think when you unpack what leadership is, you see that Brown has deep experience and expertise in the underlying areas that comprise the discipline of leadership. So, for instance, psychology in our CLIPS department, in sociology, in political science, we actually have a faculty, someone who graduated from the doctoral program in political science here at Brown, coming to teach negotiation, power, and politics. We've got computer science, we've got economics, we even have fine arts. So all the things that you would expect to go into a great degree program that focuses on leadership are actually here at Brown in the rest of the university. So we're delighted by that. In addition to that, what we want to do is make sure we have a real world practical curriculum. So it's agnostic in terms of industry focus. As I just put in the post, we've got airline pilots, we've got barristers, we've got former professional football players. We've got all kind of people who are coming into this program to learn about both the theory and the practice of leadership. So we think the curriculum is very well tailored to meet the needs of people who want to get ahead in their organizations, people who really want to take on more responsibility as leaders. So it's got both a theoretical grounding, grounded in research, and real world practice as well. And I think that's what Brown really brings to the table. The format couldn't be more flexible. You can do, as Mike pointed out, a traditional cohort would be 2 classes per semester. We do have the opportunity or the option of going 1 class per semester. That will impact your cohort a little bit. You're accessible anywhere in the world. We do have an optional class that you can attend for those who do want to have real-time interaction with me and the other faculty members weekly, but you don't have to go to that. It'll be recorded. You do have to look at it for the assessments as well. But flexibility is really key. It's a program designed to meet your needs wherever you are. We do like to think the faculty for this program is really handpicked. In fact, I've been involved with all of the faculty selection. We've got, as I mentioned, the gentleman that's going to be teaching power, politics, and negotiation. He's actually a UN. He does negotiating workshops for the UN. My background is primarily military. I retired from the Marine Corps after 21 years of service. We have women that have worked in other universities that are teaching change management, teaching teams in collaboration. We have faculty who hail from Europe. We've really tried to comb the beachhead to bring to you not only excellent teachers, but also practitioners and scholars who can take a real dynamic look at what leadership is going to look like in the classroom with a very applied focus. So we're really proud of the experts that we have. And we're also drawing on the rest of the university, as well as executives that we can pull in. And really, this is a degree that's open to a lot of different career paths. There's no one, it's not targeted at any one domain. Whether you're in HR, you want to be a professional coach, organizational development, someone that wants to get ahead. We've got someone that comes from a manufacturing background of motorcycles. It's really a wide range of people that come into the program for this fundamental grounding in good leadership practice. And I really think that's one of the strengths of the program, is that you're going to get exposed to people from so many different backgrounds and so many different experiences that'll come into our online classroom. I think that'll be incredibly valuable for people in an era where we really need good leaders at all levels in organizations.
Great. Thank you so much, Ed. And then, Ed, if you don't mind just talking a little bit about the standard course sequence that we have.
Yeah, thanks. So I mentioned some of these things, but if you think about it, again, you can take this one course at a time, but the course really starts off with a grounding in management and leadership from both really looking at some of the key concepts and theories that inform the domain. I will be teaching leadership ethics and professional integrity, something that I teach also in our MBA program. So those are the first 2 courses, because it's important to understand the fundamentals of management and leadership, because not everyone comes from a management background. It's also important to understand the importance of ethics, because I think we look in terms of trust building to have leadership teams and leaders that have strong ethics. We will move in the second semester into organizational behavior and development. How do organizations function? That will be taught by Axel Bagot, who does work with Michelin. She's French, has taught previously here at Brown and has degrees from Harvard. We will have someone who's going to be teaching team leadership and collaboration, who has worked in executive development at Citigroup as a Wharton graduate. So we're delighted to have her. We've got another person who has a master's degree from Columbia and also a PhD from the University of Southern California, teaching strategic change, who actually works in that industry and teaches in their Human Capital Master's Program. Nick, as I mentioned, will be teaching power politics and negotiation. He's teaches currently full-time at Harvard and will be joining us. He's a Brown graduate. We are still trying to find someone. We have a little bit of time. It's a little trickier to find someone doing leading with emerging technologies today because we have to try to find someone who's close enough to the action, so to speak, to what's happening as the dynamic industry continues to, dynamic technology continues to rapidly proliferate in organizations. So we have to find someone who's got a balance between both the academics and the practitioners. So we want to be really careful in who we hire. We don't want someone teaching COBOL, right? We don't want someone who's going to teach technology from 30 years ago. And then I get a lot of questions about the executive capstone. And this is really my course that I'll be designing next. Now, what I try to help people understand with this course is it's really targeted on you as an individual. You sort of expect, and I've done a lot of teaching at the graduate level, we're going to get put into a team, and our team is going to work on a project, and we'll probably go out to an organization. All those things are good. They're all good things. But what I really want us to focus on is each individual as a leader, him or herself. So what we'll be doing over the course of this, what we think is unique course, is having you work on an action learning project that's relevant to your organization or an organization that you can work with if you're in transition in some way, shape, or form, and build leadership skills week over week that are applied to your project. So you get theory, you'll get practice and application that's relevant to you. So in a perfect world, what I'd like to see with our graduates is at the end of not just the degree, but this course, you're ready and you're signaling to your organization, I'm ready for more responsibility. And that's what we really want to try to embed in people that come into the course. Leadership's important, obviously. The theory and the practice are important. But I think what really matters for the students that come through this course is that they're going to get something that's germane to them to help them in their career journey, whatever that'll be.
Great. Thank you so much, Ed. All right, next I'm going to toss it over to Devin to talk a little bit about what it's like to be an online student here at Brown University.
Great, thanks, Mike. So here are a couple things to keep in mind as you're considering this program. In terms of class logistics, all of our courses can be accessed from anywhere using the Canvas learning platform. This is where you'll find your course recordings, assignments, and your grades. It's essentially a centralized hub for learning. I've used it as a student. It's very user-friendly to use. Upon graduation, the degree awarded will be a Master's in Science in Organizational Leadership, which, to be clear, means that neither your degree or neither your diploma nor your official transcript will include the words online. For graduation, all online graduates are invited to Brown's in-person commencement ceremony in May, but we will also host a virtual ceremony for those who aren't able to travel to Providence, but both are available to you. One thing we really like to make clear is that regardless of where you are, if you're nearby Providence, if you're in this country, if you're in another country, you are still full members of the Brown community, regardless of where you are. And that means you have access to a number of resources. And this is just a couple of them. That gives you access to Brown's online library, career services, which I'm going to dive into a little bit more in just a moment, Brown's Virtual Foundations and Resource Center, which offers additional program resources. So if you need to brush up on math or writing, this is the place you can go to work on those skills. And you will also have a dedicated support team from application all the way to graduation, and then as well as when you're alums. Great. So now career services. So one of the great benefits of attending Brown University is taking advantage of our resources. And one of the best ones is our career services. Now, I know many of you already have jobs and you might not be looking for any, but this is still a great place to look for networking and other information. As a general hub, you can use our virtual career service center, where you can explore career paths, check latest industry news, see career advice, and keep up with other market insights. You are welcome to schedule appointments for direct career advising via Handshake, which is Brown's recruiting platform for students. And you also will have access to their new career bulletin Google chat community, where job opportunities and upcoming career workshops are posted. Career Services also has their readiness program, and within this, they host a number of in-person and virtual events connecting students with all kinds of experts, networking opportunities, and skill training. So if you're not looking for a job, but you're still looking to meet people in your industry, this is really a great place to do that. And then in terms of community engagement, again, like I said, you are full members of the Brown community. So this means that you're able to connect with Brown individuals across the world. One way you can do this is through Brown Connect, which functions as a networking and career platform where students can connect with peers, alums, as well as professionals across industries. You'll also have access to the Brown Daily Herald, which is the university student web newspaper, as well as Today at Brown and Events at Brown, which are daily email digests that highlight university news and upcoming events. And you'll note that there are a lot of virtual events, so you're still able to attend even if you aren't physically here. Graduate students can also subscribe to a variety of listservs for academic resources, community updates, as well as networking. And then for centers and student groups, we have a graduate council, which is the governance body for graduate students, and they do include virtual candidates and virtual representations. So if you want to get involved on the government side of Brown University, you are welcome to do that. There are also a wide range of cultural and identity-based centers and groups. And this is, again, a small list, but just to name a few, we have the Brown Center for Students of Color, the Global Brown Center for International Students, the Sarah Doyle Center for Women and Gender, the LGBTQ Center, and the Military Affiliated Students Group. Each of these groups holds their own events. They have their own ways of community building. So if you're looking for more ways to engage with the Brown community, these are some wonderful groups to be a part of.
All right. Thank you so much, Devin. I appreciate it. All right. So if anything we've said this afternoon has piqued your interest and you're like, I want to apply today, you certainly can. Our application is open, and I'm going to walk you through a little bit about what you're going to need to complete that application if you haven't done so already. So first, we need a bachelor's degree from an accredited institution. You will need a resume or CV. We do ask that our applicants have at least 3 years of professional experience. I will add, as Ed mentioned earlier, our applicants come from all over, so we're not looking for a specific industry that you need to be from. Our applicants really run the gamut of working all throughout various industries, professions, and different opportunities that they work through. We do need 3 letters of recommendation, and we do ask that at least one of those should be provided from a professional supervisor or manager. And then we do need transcripts from any institutions that you've attended. So please note that you can submit unofficial transcripts for the application process, but if you are accepted and choose to enroll, we are going to need official transcripts from those schools before you start. So again, you can submit an unofficial transcript just to submit your application, but please note that again, we would need the official transcripts if you are accepted and choose to enroll with us. And lastly, we're going to need a personal statement. This is going to talk about kind of why Brown, why now? Why is our online Masters in Organizational Leadership the program for you? Kind of what are your career goals? And how do you envision this program really supporting your path towards achieving those? For any of our international students, we do require a WES, ECE, or SpanTran credit evaluation, and that is required before submitting your application. So if you are submitting WES, SpanTran, or ECE credit evaluation, again, that is required before you submit your application. And then for anyone whose initial language is not English, you do need to submit your TOEFL exam or IELTS. And we do need that again before submitting your final application. Just some important dates to note. Our application is open. And again, you can apply right here. You can see the website right there. And your application fee of $100 is waived for attending this program overview. And then important upcoming dates for our fall application. Our early action deadline is coming up. That's March 15th. Our priority deadline is May 15th. And the final deadline to apply is going to be June 15th. And then our semester for fall will begin on September 3rd. All right, so at this point, we're going to open it up to some questions, and it looks like we have some that have come in already. Ed, this seems like a question I think you might be able to help answer.
Give it
We
a
have
go.
a student here. Yep, they're a certified ACT ACT coach through Brown, and they're looking to deepen their practice and their work, and they're wondering if this MOLE program would be the right one for them to deepen what they can offer leaders and eventually work with companies.
Yeah, so that's a great question. I think when we originally thought about the target audience for the degree, it's again, it's very wide. but we thought that it might have a particular or peak interest among the community that is in learning and development or in coaching as one of the sub segments. Doesn't mean you have to be. But I think it would help in that regard. I am a certified coach. I've been through ACT's team coaching program. I did my individual coaching certification elsewhere. And I do think that unlike a coaching degree, a coaching certification tends to focus in a very good way on the process of coaching, the ethics of coaching, the structure of coaching to the ICF standards of programs that I'm familiar with anyway, and certainly some of the psychology of coaching and running workshop, running engagements with clients. I think what you're going to get here is a grounding in the theory and the practice of leadership in a more general sense. The different types of leadership theories, there's about 14 different theories out there. The different elements of group dynamics and collaboration, how organizations function in a larger sense. Now, a coach probably has a good idea of how those things do work if you've been working in larger organizations or in the private sector. But I think what someone will get here is something that enhances their knowledge of leaders, of teams, and leaders in organizations. So I think that is something that would be potentially valuable for someone as a coach and a differentiator in their coaching practice.
Great. Thank you so much, Ed. We had another question coming in asking about merit-based aid. I'm happy to answer that. So those decisions are final. So once you get your acceptance letter, if you are accepted to the program, the decision on whether you would also receive any merit-based aid would be in that acceptance letter as well.
Yep.
We have another question.
What if you own your own business? I'm just seeing some of these in the chat, so I'll address these. So typically people who own their own business have worked with clients, have worked with suppliers, have worked in other businesses. So I think we don't have a very strict, I would say, policy on recommendation. Your mom is probably not great, or something like that. We would dissuade you from doing that. But someone that can speak to your professional capabilities, like a former professor or something like that. So we give you some flexibility. On your letters, I'll just give you a personal perspective. Says I'm the one with my team, my other colleagues that review all these. Like everyone on the call looks at this stuff, so it isn't like some other big machine it goes over to and then it spits out at the end. We look at it. So on your recommendation, on a couple of things, on your personal statement, make it personal to you and have a purpose in there that speaks to why Brown. It's not that I've always wanted a master's degree and things like, what are you going to do with this degree? I think that's really important. And why this degree and why now? I think for anything you apply for, you should be careful in how you do that. I mean, we're looking for you to make a compelling case for how this degree is going to help you advance in your career and also be a better leader, right? That's the point. The second thing I would say, and then I'll go back to these questions that we have, is on recommendations. And this has now become a hot button for me. Be thoughtful in who you pick to do your recommendations, because I see a lot of, I think the technical term is crappy recommendations coming through on people. So let me give you an example. In a batch I just reviewed, 3 out of the 12 applications, and these were different applications, had recommendations that had this on it. The first one said, I'm delighted to recommend so-and-so for the master's degree in education at Harvard University. This is unfortunately Brown, so that was not that helpful to the student who submitted that for this program. These are different students' packages. Another recommendation said at the very end, if you would like to contact me, feel free to contact me at insert email address and insert phone number. Okay, so that seems like it might be a form letter. So again, you want to take real care in the people that you pick. And then the last one, which was from another university, interestingly said, high recommendations for this person all through all the description. High recommendation, couldn't be better suited for your program. Too bad it was the wrong person. It was somebody else who wasn't actually applying. I don't know who the person was. So really take some care when you put together your application, because we really do look at them carefully. And I would say those things apply to wherever you apply, and you should look at other programs. Just make sure you do a good job on your purpose statement and really pick people who are going to do a good job on your recommendation. So when it comes through, we're not confused as to who you are and why they haven't done a good job on your recommendation. So I think I answered the question on your own business. So when it comes to Brown and the learning environment, we work really hard, even though it's an online degree and largely asynchronous, to create a community with the cohort model that we're using, which we've been using forever here at Brown, with the online activities, the weekly interactive, we call it, the interactive or live session. And also, what all the students do is they create a community behind the scenes on WhatsApp or Slack or whatever, and that's pretty common. So, but I know in talking with my fellow faculty members, we will be having office hours as well. And there is, as Mike pointed out, there's the in-person session that'll happen. I think it's in the spring of next year. So there's a lot of different ways to create community. I think you can create a community online. That's something that's a feature of the post-pandemic era. You can create a strong community online just as you can in person. I will say people do want to come to Brown. And I think there's plenty of opportunity to do that. And people just have to think about a way to get here. And I'm sure the faculty, I know they want to find time to meet with you. There are some faculty that are local, including myself. So we'd be happy to find time to chat with you. But I think the community aspect of Brown is a really big deal. It's not something, having taught at other universities and schools, it's something that's quite unique to Brown. And did we answer? Are there more questions coming, Mike?
Yeah, we had a couple come in. We had one question about the date and time for our live classes, but I believe those are still being set.
Yeah,
for
those are
the
that's
first.
part of the syllabus that will go out. Each faculty member sets it. I think I can't remember mine are like Tuesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern time. So, that's going to, where you live in the world is going to depend on your ability to get to that. Although when I taught at Harvard and I taught online, I had students calling in from Egypt, Mauritius, Hong Kong, Australia. They would get up in the middle of the night to come to class. That was pretty impressive. And it didn't bother me when they fell asleep. I understood that. So yeah, we're trying to make it so that there's office hours, there's the live instructor time, and knowing the faculty that we've picked. In fact, Crystal, one of our faculty members, is on the call. The faculty are really eager to engage.
Great, thanks, Ed. Yeah, we did have another question about kind of access to campus facilities, and you would have those, as Devin mentioned in her piece. If you did come to the Brown area or Brown community, and as Ed mentioned, community is such an important part, both in person at Brown and in our online programs, you would have access to campus facilities such as the library and things like that. We did also have another question about the merit-based scholarships. I'm happy to talk a little bit more about that. So again, they are kind of offered based on a student's merit. We have a specific rubric that we use, that we look at students, again, all parts of your application. We look holistically at these, and then we determine the merit based on the rubric that we do give out. So there's not a specific number that we have, but again, that is just based on the rubric that we use in the student's application. And then if that is for the first semester or every semester, it's your entire time. So once you're offered that scholarship, that is applied to each of your semesters moving forward. We had another question come in about what the average number of years for our inaugural cohort is. I don't know that we have that number yet, as our cohort is actually still being finalized. We're reaching our final deposit deadline. But do we see that appropriate number of years for someone in that program? Ed, maybe you want to speak a little bit about that?
Yeah, so we have three different new programs, Master in Business Analytics and Master in Management for early career professionals or aspiring to be professionals, and we call the MOLE, the Master in Organizational Leadership. So the minimum requirement is 3 years. So we can't have people in the program that don't have any work experience. The target is probably 10 years. So I think the sweet spot for people in the program is about that sort of 10 to 15 year mark, sort of mid-career people who are, really thinking about what do I need to ground myself in both practice and theory to get to the next level. So, we've done the best job we could, I think, in getting people into the cohort that have something to offer the cohort in terms of their experience. So we're not trying to dissuade anyone from applying, that's for sure. And you have many skilled early career professionals. If you just look at the way the workplace has changed, you have more and more people in particular industries, especially technology, that are early career leaders. So we definitely want those people to apply because they have a different perspective. But I think the sweet spot for the program is probably around that 10 to 12 to 15 year mark.
Yeah. And then there was another question come in. What qualities does this program value most in its students? I know as someone who also, again, myself, Devin, and Ed, we're looking at these applications as they come through. Again, we're going to be looking at all different kinds of things. We do look holistically, how are your grades? But again, also your work experience is so important, as Ed said, and we've mentioned a couple times. We always love to see how you're going to make this degree work for you and the organizations that you're working in. I think that's a really important piece. Ed, do you want to speak a little bit more about that?
Yeah, I think to Mike's point, we look at the whole package. I wouldn't say there's one thing that's more important than anything else. We do want people to have strong undergraduate grades. If for some reason they don't, we would like to see some ability in the workplace or in other academic pursuits that speaks to a situation. So for instance, we had someone that was admitted, was more senior, was finishing a career in the military, but they had been going to their first university while they were deployed. Those kinds of things we certainly factor in. And the quality of one's recommendation letters matters quite a bit. There's generic ones, which we see, and then there's ones that really speak to the applicant's abilities in the workplace, and as importantly, sort of prospective abilities to take on more responsibility at work. So certainly academics, certainly the quality of one's work experience, certainly their personal story matters in the purpose, as well as their letters of recommendation. So you will not get into this program if you don't apply. That's the one thing we found for sure. So you're better off applying, and we'll do our very best to look comprehensively at where you are and make a decision based on that. But there's no one factor that's the overriding factor.
Mhm. Yeah, great. Thank you so much. And I think that's a really great point, Ed. You don't know until you apply, right? To see what we can get. And as we said, like I said, a couple times, it's always fascinating just to see where our students are applying from, what backgrounds they have. So please certainly do submit your application to us. I'm going to open it up for any other last questions to come through here.
Yeah, if there's a
Again,
question
you
about
should
do we
come in.
recalculate grades with majors? No, we look at your overall grades, I would say. We see, here's my major, here's my cum and my major, my overall. We're looking at your overall performance.
Yep, absolutely. All right, folks. Thank you so much for your questions. Really engaging questions. I really hope you learned more about our program here this afternoon. If there was a question you did have you didn't get to answer or get answered or ask, please email us at onlinemasters_admissions@brown.edu. We're happy to answer any other questions you have. I know Ed is always available to reach out to students both through email. It's very active on LinkedIn. Certainly reach out to myself or the rest of the staff, answer any questions you can have, whether it be about the application process or just questions you have about what it's like to be a student. And you can always schedule an appointment with your graduate recruitment coordinator. And again, the information for that is listed below. Ed, any final kind of thoughts or words before we wrap up this afternoon?
No, thanks so first off, thank you to my team for being here. My faculty are online too. But thank you for all of you who have interest in the program. We're humbled by your interest. We think this program has the opportunity to really change a lot of your lives. I think we hear that often from people that go through our programs here, and we'd love for you to come be a part of it.
All right. Thank you all so much. Again, we thank you for coming. And again, if you had any other questions, please feel free to reach out to myself or the rest of the team. And we hope to see your application come through soon. All right. Have a wonderful afternoon, everyone.
Take care, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.